Hello, everybody. Uh, it's 8:35, and the thing is that I had my longest stream to myself for the last 30 minutes. I have been talking to a streaming app which was not streaming to YouTube. So I'm going to do this again, but I don't think I have the energy to repeat what I said. And the problem here is I will not be able to share my screen because in the streaming app I was sharing my screen. Anyways, long story short, today I'm going to first make an intention in which I'm asking God to relay what I say in the way that I mean, and you receive what I mean in the way that is right for you. That is my intention. So please open your heart and ears and all the channels of reception for the discussion of today, which is how you address yourself. Well, I basically want to talk about three main categories, maybe four main categories, as you addressing yourself in imperatives. Do this, do that. You addressing yourself as you. Let's make it for you addressing yourself as we, and you addressing yourself as I. Well, there is pros and cons of both uh, ways of addressing. And the imperatives is more like this. When you use imperatives to yourself, basically there is uh, you are either motivating yourself in which a very high intensity, like when you are doing sports and stuff. But I'm more talking about just in general. So when someone to do this, do that, what it brings is basically there's a lack of self. You don't even know what the self is. There is no differentiation between the inside world and the outside world. And then the answer to the question who you are is basically what kind of a question is that? I am who I am. And on the good side, on the flip side, your intuition, your heart, your gut, they also talk to you in imperatives. Like your intuition tells you whether to do something or not to do something, or same way your instincts are telling you, or the same way your gut is telling you. The second you meet somebody, you know more about them than your brain will ever know. So the problem with these imperatives, however, is that they have no intention of persuading you. Like your intuition will tell you what it truly feels, but it's not going to get out of way. That voice is not going to get out of way to persuade you to take the action in accordance with your intuition. The second part has more to do with the initial environment of a person, and this part is when you address yourself as you, then basically the identity of the self has shifted from uh, an inner meaning to an external meaning, like how your normal life, your parents, your teachers, the authority figures in your life, how they regarded you, now you are regarding yourself as such. You are a person like this, you are a person like that. So when you think to yourself, you address yourself as you, that voice is calling you you. And another thing with this is these people, they are so not aware of this voice that most of their thinking is actually about people. But he did this, she did that, he's like this, she's like this. It's more trying to understand the outside, and then when they talk to themselves, they use the proverb you. There's some people, and these are not like, oh, this person only use imperatives, this person only use I. There's a spectrum, and they all coexist. The the addressing of the self as we is the third category, and this could be a little bit tricky to talk about because it is either an enlightened person or a person with mental health conditions. But in a way, if our mental health care was maybe more holistic, maybe we would really understand that a really enlightened person and a really mentally distorted person might be very close to each other, but we just might be missing the link in between them. Anyways, but as you address yourself as we, it's either you have a delusional sense of self and then think that you are way more than what you are, or this could also manifest itself in people with big families, like because they have an understanding of a herd. They are like, oh, we got this, we exist. It's more tribal. And the final one, which is more in accordance with a person being an adult individual, is addressing yourself as I, because when you address yourself as I, there is more accountability, more responsibility, more self agency. And in this realm, the the voice actually has a chance to evolve. Because think of this, most people are struggling in life. Uh, and in order to help somebody with their struggle, you have to meet them where they are. How do you meet yourself where you are? Like if your knee hurts, it doesn't help massaging your shoulder. You know, if your hair is on fire, it doesn't help getting a nice pedicure. So if you are lonely deep down in your heart, it doesn't matter how many friends you have. You have to meet your loneliness with yourself. If you are feeling weak and not empowered, it doesn't matter how much money or power or status you have. Within you, there is still something missing. And in order for you to see what is missing and then meet yourself where it is, so if your knee hurts, actually helping you with the knee. If your head hurts, actually helping with your head. If your heart hurts, then actually helping yourself with your heart. And after you meet yourself where you are and then help yourself, then things might change. But I'm pretty sure you and everybody else has heard this advice and has also given this advice to other people at times, which is like, don't be so hard on yourself. Like, all of a sudden enlightened. I have never thought of not being hard on myself, and today and on, I'm good. No. Well, let's take it. If you are hard on yourself, maybe you have a perfectionist image of yourself, which shows avoidance because a perfect is unattainable, which keeps you away from dealing with what is attainable. Well, okay, don't be perfectionist, don't be hard on yourself. Maybe at that point you are upset with yourself. Maybe you are mad at yourself. Maybe you are angry at yourself. How are you going to meet yourself there? Well, what is behind anger and madness? Well, maybe you are sad with yourself. Maybe you are disappointed with yourself. But the more I talk, the heavier I feel. You know, these things are not jokes. But in order for you to meet where you are, you have to be brave enough to go to those levels and then sit down with the part of you that has been disappointed with you. But this talk is impossible because when I talk with my students and when I talk with my clients, they listen to my suggestions because I talk to them kindly, respectfully, sincerely. But when it comes to me, maybe I call myself names. I'm like, "Are you stupid? How can you do this mistake?" Like there is no way for me to teach myself if I address myself as such. Like if I was talking to my students, 20% of how I was student, I wouldn't have any students. So that was the moment in which I realized that, hey, like I cannot really get to where I want to go as long as I am just being unkind to myself. And unkind is a very kind world, a very kind word, actually. So addressing yourself with compassion and kindness and understanding, you will have a sense of self. And with a sense of self, you will have a vision. And when you have a vision, the things that you are continuously doing, what is it, like getting a job, getting a partner, getting a house, getting to a place, just whatever that you are trying to do to feel better, to make yourself feel okay, all of a sudden will lose its effect because you know what you really need to do. Meet yourself here. And that work, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to go anywhere. You just need to sit and be still, which is very easy to say. So I'm not judging you. But the second you have that bigger vision of who you are and then where you are headed in life, then there is no more struggle. Then all the efforts, all the mistakes, all the wins and losses are just progress for the bigger goal that your heart is leading you. But again, just remember, your heart has no intention of persuading you, and heart is gullible. Like if your mind is so strong that your mind will manipulate your heart, saying that I want this for the better, but mind has its own plans. So it's very important to be sincere and honest with yourself. But these are very hard things in the beginning, especially. And let's change those struggles to a progress. But in order for a progress, you have to know where you are headed. And by no means I'm trying to overwhelm you, saying that you have to know what you're going to do 100% of the time, because that's not life. But you have to know your own desire of who you want to be and where you want to head in life. This is going to be the summary of the stream that I made to myself, which I also enjoy. May you be in peace and blessings. May you have a lovely evening. And until next week, stay curious about yourself. Getting old starts the moment you stop being curious about yourself. So don't get old. Stay curious about yourself and start to pick up that inside voice. Are you a kind person in relation to yourself? Because if you are not kind, nothing happens with force. You will not be able to force yourself into anything, but you will be able to love yourself into who you truly are. In peace. Subscribe to the channel if you choose. Like the video if you have. And I'll see you next week.